Alright, so I just got back from a 3D shoot and I'm going to finally pull the trigger and do something I've been wanting to do for a long time. It's switched from big fat heavy 27s to a smaller lighter arrow. I think a little more speed would be a little more forgiving. Sometimes these will hit just a half-inch low on I feel like it's a great shot and a good shot, and I think that such a heavy arrow, if you're off any at all on your sight tape, and this year I'm shooting Hunter 45, so I feel like I'm losing some points on stuff like that. These big boys come in at These are coming in at 508 grains. 500, now it's moving around a little bit. $509 grains. So these are coming in at, you know, close to 510 grains. And I'm down to like 4 left. I've got some others, but they're not fletched. I had 2 of them that I shot through each other, sighting in for 3D. So I'm getting down to needing some more arrows anyway, and I figured if I'm going to buy some more arrows, I might as well try some smaller, lighter arrows. And while I've had good luck with Victory, and I don't mind shooting Victory, I've got a good deal on some Easton Super Drive 23s. So, fixing to build some Easton Super Drive 23s. Stick around. Let's see how they shoot. We're going to use the Precision Cut Archery software, see if we can make a sight tape, and see how maybe they're a little more forgiving than the 27s. Alright, so first off, I'm not going to build a dozen of them today. I like to build 6, 4 to 6, see how they shoot, and if they're not working for me, I can either sell the other 6 or I can build fletch them different or build them different, use different tips or something. So I'm going to put 6 of them back and we'll get to them another time. So these 6 are the ones we're going to shoot. The first thing we're going to do with them is, I've already had them cut. I had them cut at the shop. I'm going to square them off and clean them out. I used to not be so much into how square they were. I figured they got cut square enough until I saw Levi Morgan talking about it on a podcast or something about, not having a square arrow. You're setting yourself back basically, just right out of the gates. Alright, so we'll do all the bushings first, and then we'll go back and do the tips. Doesn't take a ton of glue on the bushing, because it's being pushed most of the time. So just press that in, give that a little roll there. Bushing's good to go. Alright, we got all 6 of them bushings and nocks. Now we're going to go to tips. Similar process. I go a little heavier on the glue with the tips, because they will pull out if you're not careful. I try to twist when I go in. Give it just a light little push there at the end. Give her one smooth roll. That's pretty much it. Alright, so we've got all 6 of them with the tips installed, nocks installed. I'm going to spin them real quick, just make sure we don't have any that are kind of odd. Just double check everything. Say it's time to get the jig out. Start fletching. Alright, so next up, we've got everything sanded in our channel vanes, we've sanded our shaft, We've got all our components installed between our tips and our bushings. We're going to put them in here, but before we get into that too much, we are going to get our tack primer. We're going to prime the shaft. So I'm just going to put just a little bit of primer on a napkin, and where I sanded those shafts, I'm just going to hit them with a little bit of primer off of that paper towel. Alright, so I'm going to hit these with the primer pen. Not looking to soak them or anything, just I want the tip of this primer pen wet. Give those a second to dry, and I'll go ahead and hit these. If you don't use this primer pen after you've been hitting them with some sandpaper, there's always a chance you get a little bit of grit in there. So again, using our tack glue. I'm running low on glue, so we're going to have to hope I can get 6 out of this. Just dab it down through there, then I'm just going to take that tip and run it up and down that vein. Hold it on there for 12-15 seconds. I don't have a set exact time or anything that I do, but somewhere around 12-15 seconds. Wipe this off. Roll it. I always like to check and make sure they're going to line up good before I just slap it on. Looks like those are going to be fine. Just repeat this process. Run that tip up and down. Don't have any air bubbles. Start at the bottom and work your way up when you're pressing the vein on. It's a little cold in here today, so it might take a little longer to adhere. Roll to the next one. Seems like these being a little colder, these veins are a little stiffer. Okay. So I've got all 3 of them on. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to take a clean Q-tip and I'm just going to run it down the sides where that glue is poked out. I don't know that it makes a seal, but it sure makes me feel good. It looks better. So I'll put just a little dab on the fronts. Alright, so we've got all 6 of them fletched up. I'm going to give them a little bit to dry and make sure we don't have any peeling issues. Everything went smooth. I did turn the heater on because I think it made it got a little warmer in here. It was 32 degrees when I got in here. So when I turned the heater on, got some warm a little bit. It seemed like the channels would open up with a little less pressure, and that was pretty important because I don't want those channels to not open up and you know, the vein be sticking up. So make sure you get some heat on when you're fletching. Not super cold. That's pretty extreme for fletching arrows, but so far everything going smooth. I'm gonna let them dry for a little bit, then we're gonna paper tune and get some speeds on them and sight them in. Alright, so our arrows have dried. We're gonna get some quick measurements on these, on the weight, and then we'll put that into our software. 348, 348, 348. So all of them are 348, like 0.4 or 0.8, something like that. Some variation of that, but 348. Peep to the arrow. So before we knock tune, we're going to make sure everything's square and everything's level. String square, arrow looks good. Alright, so the plan is shoot each arrow, make mental note of each arrow, how I've got it started. Once I get a bullet hole, I'm going to mark the area on the arrow itself, and that way every time I'll have that arrow up, or that color up, that paint pen up every time, and then I'll know, you know, that's the way it flies the truest. So let's get started. So got lucky on that one. So then with the knock out and my indicator vane out, which I don't have an indicator because I was going to rotate the knock, so that's why I didn't do an indicator. With that knock out, I'm going to put just a little bit of paint pen here. Let me know that should be up every time I shoot, and that'll give me that bullet hole. Hopefully they're all that easy. All right, so I've got them all marked with paint pen, showing me what should be up. As far as the paper tuning goes, these were probably the easiest arrows I've ever paper tuned. They were extremely, I can beat and bang my way through here. They were extremely easy to paper tune. Lots of good bullet holes. I think I had to shoot one or two twice. You can kind of see there in the middle. But for the most part, they were really good bullet holes. .308, 307. All right, so we gotta have these arrows closer to 290, not 310 or whatever. So I've took a turn out of both limbs. We'll check it. We're at 307. I bet we're gonna need more than one twist out. 299, we're getting there. I'll do another half turn. 294. I'll do a quarter turn. That hopefully get us around 292. All right, so we've printed our precision cut archery sight tape. I'm going to cut this middle one out. Always start in the middle is what I've kind of been doing here lately. Sure to leave my pin at 40, and that's where I want to line my sight tape up with. That's one of the things that the guys at Precision Cut recommended. Makes total sense, and I'm mad that I didn't think of it many years ago when I was setting up sight tapes. But it makes total sense that you'd want your 40, in my case, your longer distances being the one that's spot on accurate, and not 20, because you rarely shoot 20 even, but you will definitely shoot some close to 40. All right, so step one, we're going to get 20 dialed in. Alright, so 20 is good. We're going to just pick some random yardages around the yard. Kind of just see, double check, you know, the weird ones like 33.5 or something kind of weird like that you got to shoot. Dead center, so we're going to keep backing up. That was 32 and a little like a 0.2 or 0.4, something like that. First shot height-wise was good, but just broke to the right of it. The second one broke just to the left of it, and height-wise was perfect again. Finally settled down on the third shot, and it was dead on. So we're going to back on up. I'm shooting Hunter 45 this year, Hunter Elite in some classes, what they call them. So 45-yard max. So I'm going to back on up into the low 40s and kind of see what that looks like. So our 40 mark's dead on. I don't know why our 44 is so far off. It seems to be a yard or two off. So what I'm going to do is go look at these other two tapes and see if there's a gap between 40 and 45. Oh, the gap between 40 and 45 gets, you know, much bigger. But there's 3 at 40. But there's 3 at 40 yards in the X. Wind got me on the first one. These three, 40 yards, I'll take that.